You stole my future. The day my younger brother exposed my biggest secret in front of my entire family. The sound of the wine glass shattering against the marble floor silenced the entire room. My mother's face turned pale. My father slowly stood up from the dinner table. And my younger brother, shaking with rage, tears streaming down his face, pointed directly at me and screamed. Tell them what you did, Marcus. Tell them why my life fell apart while you became the successful one. 32 people sat frozen around the family reunion table. No one moved. No one breathed. Because deep down, everyone knew there was something dark hiding beneath my success. But nobody expected the truth to explode like this. And I certainly never imagined the person who would destroy me would be my own brother. For most of my life, I was considered the successful child. I wore expensive suits. I drove a black luxury car. I worked as a senior financial consultant in one of the most respected firms in the city. People admired me. My relatives constantly compared their children to me. Why can't you be disciplined like Marcus? Marcus bought his parents a vacation. Marcus became successful before 30. Every compliment felt like oxygen. But behind that polished image was a truth I buried for 8 years. A truth connected to my younger brother, Adrian. Adrian was the complete opposite of me. He was emotional, creative, impulsive. While I obsessed over grades and promotions, he painted murals, played guitar in cafes, and chased impossible dreams. Our father hated that. You'll never survive in the real world, Dad would say. Adrian would laugh it off. But I noticed something no one else did. Every criticism slowly crushed him. Still, he had something I never had. Freedom. People naturally loved him. And honestly, I envied that. 8 years earlier, I was 24. Desperate. My career was collapsing before it even started. I had massive debt. Collection agencies called me daily. One night, I sat in my tiny apartment staring at unpaid bills while rain slammed against the windows. Then my phone rang. It was Adrian. His voice trembled with excitement. Marcus. I got accepted. Accepted where? The Art Fellowship in Barcelona. I froze. That fellowship was legendary. Only one applicant from our country was chosen every year. It was Adrian's dream. He laughed uncontrollably. Can you believe it? They're covering everything. Housing, travel, mentorship. This changes my whole life. But then his voice softened. I just need someone to help me submit the final confirmation online tomorrow. My internet cafe closes early. Can I send the documents to you? I looked around my apartment. At the overdue notices. At the eviction warning. At my bank balance. Then I opened my email. And saw another rejection letter from a company I desperately wanted. Something ugly awakened inside me. A thought I still hate myself for. Why does he get to succeed while I'm drowning? I wish I could say I immediately rejected that thought. I didn't. Instead, I fed it. The next morning, Adrian sent me the confirmation files. All I had to do was upload them before midnight. That was it. One click. One simple act. But jealousy is dangerous when mixed with desperation. I stared at the submission portal for almost an hour. Then slowly, I closed the browser. I told myself, he'll survive. He always does. I ignored his calls. Ignored his messages. And at exactly 12:01 a.m., the deadline passed. The next morning, Adrian pounded on my apartment door. When I opened it, his eyes were bloodshot. Did you submit it? I forced myself to look confused. What? The fellowship confirmation. My stomach twisted. I pretended to check my laptop. Then I whispered, "Oh no." His face collapsed. What do you mean, oh no? I thought it uploaded. Silence. The kind of silence that feels violent. Then he stepped backward slowly. Marcus. I still remember his voice. Not angry. Broken. You promised me. And I lied directly to his face. It was an accident. He stared at me for what felt like forever. Then nodded. But something changed in his eyes that day. Trust disappeared. And I knew it. After that, Adrian changed. He stopped painting. Stopped smiling. Stopped talking during family gatherings. Within a year, he moved away. Took random jobs. eventually disappeared from everyone's daily life. Meanwhile, my career exploded. I landed a major opportunity, made powerful connections, started earning more money than I ever imagined. But every achievement felt haunted. Every award, every promotion, every applause. I kept hearing one sentence inside my head. You promised me. Still, I buried the guilt. For 8 years. Until the reunion dinner. The night everything collapsed. My parents organized a huge anniversary celebration. Relatives flew in from different cities. Everyone kept praising me all evening. My aunt raised a glass. To Marcus, the pride of the family. People clapped. I smiled mechanically. Then the front door opened. Adrian walked in. The room immediately became tense. I hadn't seen him in almost 2 years. He looked thinner, older. But his eyes? They burned. Mom rushed to hug him. Adrian, you came. He barely responded. Instead, he stared directly at me, then sat quietly at the far end of the table. Dinner continued awkwardly, until my father made the worst possible comment. He laughed while pointing at me. Marcus understood sacrifice and responsibility. That's why he succeeded. Then he looked at Adrian. You should have learned from your brother. Everything exploded. Adrian slammed his glass so hard it shattered. Learned what? Everyone jumped. My father stood instantly. Watch your tone. But Adrian was trembling uncontrollably. Then he pointed at me and said the sentence that destroyed my carefully built life. Ask your favorite son how he destroyed my future. The room went silent. My heart started pounding violently. Mom looked confused. What is he talking about? Adrian laughed bitterly. Tell them, Marcus. Tell them how you let my scholarship expire because you were jealous. My blood turned cold. Dad frowned. That's ridiculous. But Adrian reached into his bag and pulled out printed emails. Time-stamped. Unread. Ignored. Evidence. He had everything. My hands started shaking. Then came the final blow. I spent 8 years blaming myself, Adrian whispered. Tears rolled down his face. 8 years thinking I wasn't good enough because the person I trusted most betrayed me. No one looked at me the same after that. No one. I thought that night would permanently destroy our family. And honestly, I deserved it. But the biggest shock came later. 3 days after the reunion, Adrian called me. I almost didn't answer. When I finally picked up, neither of us spoke for several seconds. Then he quietly said, I need to tell you something. His voice sounded strangely calm. After losing the fellowship, I almost ended my life. My entire body froze. I stopped breathing. He continued. I stood on a bridge at 2 in the morning. My knees weakened. But an old street musician started talking to me. He convinced me not to jump. I covered my mouth. Tears immediately filled my eyes. Then Adrian said something I never expected. That moment forced me to rebuild myself without depending on anyone's approval. I didn't understand. Until he added, Marcus, I own 3 art studios now. I blinked. What? I teach underprivileged kids for free every weekend. I built a life after what happened. I sat down heavily, completely stunned.